Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever is an extremely underrated movie to me. I have a lot of fond memories watching this movie. This thing came out in 1995. That was the year I turned 5 years old. So I got a personal connection to this movie because this was the first Batman movie I ever saw inside the movie theater. As a kid, I loved it. Watching it now as an adult, is it as good as '89 in Batman Returns? Absolutely not. But is it better than most people say it is? I think so. I don't think this movie's all that bad. It does have a lot of good things in it. So, let's waste no time. Let's talk about the positives. Number one for me, I think Val Kilmer is one of the more underrated guys to put on the cape and cowl. I like him as Bruce Wayne. He has that playboy personality down pat. And I also like him in the Batman suit. I think he's very natural in the suit. He's not cringy at all in the suit. I like the Batman voice he has. It's a nice little callback to Michael Keaton and how he would do a Batman voice. Just lower your own voice. Put a low tone in your voice, Just mask your voice. I think Kilmer did that great. I also like his character relationships. I think his relationship with Dick Grayson is one of the stronger ones, and I also like the scenes he has with Alfred that are sprinkled throughout the movie. I like the idea of Bruce falling in love again with Chase Meridian, though I'm not a big fan of how Chase Meridian was written. I'll get to that moment. I'll get to that soon as well. So yeah, I like this, and I'll also illustrate how much I like the rivalry between Bruce and Edward Nygma as well. So yeah, Kilmer as Bruce Wayne Batman to me, he's one of the strong points of this movie. I like Kilmer as an actor, and I like him in this movie. Speaking of Chris O'Donnell, I like Chris O'Donnell as Dick Grayson / Robin. This is probably the best on-screen portrayal we'll ever get of Robin. I think Chris O'Donnell did a really admirable job with the role. I like how they mix up the somberness of Robin and his lighthearted attitude. I like how they use Two-Face as the killer of his family. It kind of reflects on Batman and how Joker killed his family, Two-Face killed Robin's family. Two villains that Bruce has a personal connection with were responsible for these heinous acts, and it brings these two men together. I thought that was actually a really cool thing. A very, very cool thing. Though it doesn't really have a proper payoff, since a very important deleted scene is not in the final cut of this film, and it kind of renders this plot between Dick and Bruce kind of broken, and it kind of has a very anticlimactic payoff to it, in my opinion. Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I love Jim Carrey as the Riddler. He is channeling his inner Frank Gorshin, and he is just having a blast in this role. Jim Carrey, this was the year Jim Carrey was on a hot streak. He had done Dumb and Dumber, he had done The Mask, and now he's doing Batman Forever. And he steals every scene he's in, he just steals. This was when Carrey was on his A game. And I like like I said, I like the rivalry that develops between Nygma and Wayne. I like how Nygma is obsessed with Bruce Wayne, kind of like a stalker. I like the whole idea of Nygma having this brain machine that he tries to sell Wayne, but Wayne will not take it because a machine that can manipulate brain waves it's very sketchy, and it raises too many questions. So I like all that stuff. I like the Riddler's hideout. I like how he's just like this obsessed stalker of Bruce Wayne. And as the movie progresses, we see at a costume party that Nygma is so obsessed with copying Bruce Wayne, he even goes as far as to putting a mole on his face to mimic Bruce's mole. I really enjoy the Riddler in this movie. Jim Carrey is just aces it. And I also like the team up of Two-Face and Riddler as well. They're very, very funny together. The production design of this movie looks great. You had that gothic architecture that Tim Burton has established, but you throw on a little neon paint and you give it a more poppy, colorful life. This movie does a good job at paying homage and tribute to the Dick Sprang era of the Batman comics, where everything was just very colorful and vibrant and in-your-face flashy. I think Joel Schumacher did a good job with that. Speaking of Joel Schumacher, I think Joel Schumacher did an admirable job behind the director's chair. I think he did fine. I think he did just fine. He was, like I said, he was able to take some of the somber elements of this movie and mix it perfectly with the light-hearted tone that it tried to establish. So that stuff is great. The action sequences, I think the action sequences are well directed. When Batman is doing his fight scenes, it looks fine. The suit don't look clunky at all. To me, some of the best action sequences to me is when Dick Grayson saves this girl in an alleyway who is going to be attacked by thugs. I like all that stuff. We get to see a lot of that fun side of Robin. He's cracking some one-liners, cracking some jokes. My favorite scene is when he's driving the Batmobile down the street. He sees a couple of girls on the street corner. He's like, "Come take a ride in my love machine, babies." You know, we see that light-hearted, fun side of Dick Grayson when he's doing that, which I thought was great. Good stuff. And of course, I like the end sequence as well. We see the Batwing, and we see the Batboat, and we see Robin and Bruce come together. I like the whole look of the Robin suit. It looks fine. And I like the look of the Batman suit, especially the alternative Batman suit we see at the end, which I think looks great too. Okay, let's get on to the negatives. Chase Meridian, played by Nicole Kidman. She's a character of wasted opportunity. Nicole Kidman in this movie is drop dead gorgeous. This is probably the best she's ever looked in a movie, and just in her prime as a sex symbol. But her character is poorly written. I like the idea of having a psychologist is great, especially since this movie is trying to go for a more psychological feel by diving deep into Bruce Wayne's psyche, also diving deep into Robin's psyche, having those two psyches, collide with one another. Especially with Robin, who is just hell-bent on getting revenge on Two-Face, and they got Bruce Wayne telling him that's not the way he should do it, that's not what he should do. So, and you have a psychologist in there that could easily tie all that in together. Instead, she has very little scenes of psychologizing because she's too busy trying to get into Batman's pants. Nicole Kidman, it's a decent performance. It's just a poorly written character. Speaking of poorly written characters, the biggest sin against this movie is the characterization of Two-Face. Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face could have been excellent. Instead, he's written like the Joker, and I don't like it at all. Two-Face is the epitome of the word duality, and you have a psychologist in this movie. You're dealing with psychological elements. Two-Face is the poster child of a psychologically tortured person, and you do absolutely nothing with it. He's too busy acting like the Joker. You get bits and pieces of what Two-Face's character is with the coin flip and having the coin make decisions for himself. But then you have the movie going against all that, where there's a scene in the mansion where Bruce is trying to fight off thugs, and Two-Face is sitting on a couch. He wants to kill Batman, but he keeps flipping his coin until it pops up tails and he kills Batman. You already made up your mind that you want to kill the man, so why are you just flipping your coin for? What, you really can't do anything unless you flip the damn coin? If this was the real Two-Face, it would have taken one coin toss. The real Two-Face is this: if he wants to kill you, he'll flip a coin, and if it comes up bad, you're dead. If it comes up good, he'll spare your life. There's a lot of shades of gray to Two-Face, and this movie doesn't even come close to exploring that. I give Tommy Lee Jones all the credit in the world. The guy looks like he's having a blast, and I do like the comedic bantering between him and the Riddler, but I wanted a real Two-Face. I wanted more of Aaron Eckhart Dark Knight Two-Face in this movie when I look back at it now, especially if you're going for a psychological angle. That's a big strike against this movie because Two-Face is one of my all-time favorite Batman villains, and so far the only good portrayal of Two-Face on film has been The Dark Knight. It should have been this movie first. And my third biggest gripe is the lackluster payoff to Bruce Wayne's little subplot of him having these night terrors and repressed memories. They took out a scene that would have tied all that up. Can't talk straight. They took out a scene that would have tied all of that up nicely, and instead it's paid off in a very half-assed way, and you're left feeling very empty at the end. It's like, really? I mean, just a handshake and that's it? He's back to being who he is again? If they would have had that scene in the cave where he finds his father's red book and then he realizes that the death of his parents was not his fault at all, it would have validated Robert being in this movie. It would have given a proper payoff to the psychological angle they were taking with Bruce Wayne in this movie. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts on Batman Forever. At the end of the day, I still really enjoyed this movie. I like Batman Forever. I think it is a very underrated movie. I give it a 7 out of 10. Fix up the character of Chase Meridian, fix up the character of Two-Face, Add that deleted scene that ties up Batman's subplot, and this movie could have been at least an 8 to a 9. Instead, I give it a 7. It's a fun movie. It's a good watch. It's not as bad as people say it is. It's very, very enjoyable. So, if you like Batman Forever, let me know in the comment sections below. If you hate Batman Forever, let me know in the comment sections below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.